And so when they did that, that's when I came back and really didn't have nothing to do but music, because I couldn't really sell weed or drink for that matter, or nothing.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So and then, all right.
Yeah.
And you had most of They Know I'm a Writer written.
Yeah, I started to write it when I was locked up and started to record it. Yeah. Well, so I started to write it in probably the end of '96. I started to write it, but nothing really meaningful until I would say in '97, and then in '98 most of it was recorded. And I want to say I dropped it around beginning of '99 or end of '98. I think it was beginning, whatever that shirt said.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah, like January 1st, '99. I want to say New Year's Day or something.
Okay.
I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How old were you when that dropped then?
Let's see. I think when I dropped it, I was actually 20 when I dropped it. I was about 19 when I recorded most of it.
Okay.
I want to say that sounds about right. Yeah, '98 recorded most of it. Maybe end of '97, probably maybe. Let's see. I'm trying to think how long I was locked up in September. Got out around December or something like that of '97. So it had to be in most of '98. It was recorded in '98. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Probably written some in '97, but recorded all in '98. And I want to say most of the stuff that we did, we wrote for it after we had the beat. So I would use things I had wrote before, but kind of use it to get me maybe started on whatever I was writing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like this fits kind of like the topic, so I would use maybe a line or something I had before, but make it rhyme different because that was written to not a beat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And where everything that I did on They Know I'm a Writer, I wrote to the beat that actually, or at least finalize it or perfected it in that way. That the one we were gonna actually use.
That's what's up. So the title track, which was the first track, that was produced by you and Derek D.
Yeah, Phantom gave me that beat, I want to say Phantom. No, Derek made that beat while we were there. I paid for the session.
Yeah.
He said, you guys want to make a beat? You want me to make a beat? What you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what are you talking about with the beat? He said, well, if you pay for the session, I'll make the beat. You can have it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let's do that. And Phantom was telling me he had real good beats.
Cool.
And so I want to say that was about the second or third song I did. It was very near the beginning.
Okay. But it ended up being the first track.
Yeah, it was the end up being the first track.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good one to open up with. Yeah. So it shows that you and him produced it together, but it's probably.
Well, he was doing this, and I was saying, yeah, keep that, yeah. But it wasn't just me. It was also J-KILLA, Alifu Vickers, and Reg. I forget what Reg used his rap name. Might have just been Reg.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah.
So just that one song was recorded over at Derek's studio, Edible?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had like I almost want to say like a detached, garage or something like that. Might have been even like a back part of his house. I just remember we went around the side. Yeah. And
How did you meet Derek?
Through Phantom. He put me in touch with him.
Okay.
Yeah, Phantom used to really like his production, and I can see why.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure why we didn't go back to Derek D for anything else. I think that's the only time I went there. To be honest with you.
Okay.
But I don't know why. I don't think there was a reason behind it other than it was just far away. I think he stayed way out in the north.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of like how it was when I was messing with Sigmade. They were way out in the north. And so I would go over there as much as I could, but it wasn't like a easy access like a studio closer would have been, or even my own studio.
When you were messing with Sigmade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Later on, like around 2004 or 5, right around the time I stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I first got introduced to Lynch and Beta, maybe 2003. After I worked with Emo on a lot of stuff,
Right.
because Emo knew them.
Yeah.
That's how I got messing with D-Dub. To this day, like I'm gonna give D-Dub some music here pretty soon and do whatever he wants to with it, just because everything he's done for me. And yeah, those bonds are still there. When I see Lynch, he said, "What's up, J-KILLA?"
What's up, man?
Yeah, Funk Beta came to my studio a couple times. I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Made some beats for us.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I think if anything, Put it like this: producers don't like when you get beats, no matter how much you pay for them or not, and you don't use them. A producer want, a beat, somebody like Funk Beta or L Fingers. That's another one of my partners, from way back. If you got their beats and you don't use them, they don't like that. Not that they either want to disown me or nothing like that, but I just know that they gonna be happy once they hear their music get some play. You feel me? So for the most part, they will. Yeah.
I can see that though. Yeah. All right, man. So one of the songs, man, Game Rules.
Yeah.
That shit is hard, man.
Right.
That shit.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. I mean, you're coming pretty hard up now.
Yeah.
Game Rules, the way you're shouting.
Right.
Crazy.
So that was like mainly like a lot of just put in, honestly, just from just my experience on the streets and really trying to hustle,
Yeah.
At that time, fighting dogs was kind of a big thing. Not that I had at that time any dogs I was fighting. I had a dog before I wrote that song that would fight. But so that's kind of where, the Game Rules saying is from dog fighting, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Is where you fight your dogs and not necessarily to the death at all. It's rules to it, like the dogs have to come past a line. You have to let them, break them, if you will. If one of the owners tell you to break them, basically they fearing their dog gonna be hurt too bad, and depending on the circumstances, that might be the end of it. It's just a lot of ins and outs. I used to know the rules very well, but that's where the saying of Game Rules came from.
Game rules, I wrote truths, he snooze, they lose. Game rules, nigga, game rules, I wrote truths, he snooze, they lose. Swearing they was hoping, end up getting tattooed. Game rules, I wrote truths, he snooze, they lose. Game rules, nigga, game rules.
But I applied kind of that, I guess, to just my experience as far as hustling. I even talked about what I was doing with the weed, going back and forth in that song, I want to say. And just kind of, just everything that was on the streets. I think that's why people that hear that like that. I mean, to this day, KB, the one that gave me my name, he feel like that song and the J-KILLA song, he like, man, you need to re-drop those songs.
I got that one down too, man. I was gonna say that J-KILLA. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that shit is hard, man.
Yeah.
That shit is hard. That's like your anthem.
Right.
J-K-I-double-L fucking A. Riding back and forth and up and down these freeways. My life becoming a rose, breaking these pounds down in the zones. And when I'm sitting on the tunnel, still feel I need more. Straight killer, bitch, I'm hitting my bucket, time to re-up. I'm selling more weed in that day, that nigga by more, they smoking them up. That motherfuckers, they conceptions, into the motherfucking G's. I'm with my strap, built up.
Yeah, so yeah, he to this day, he's like, man, we need to. He called me sometimes, like, we need to do a video. I'm like, bro, he said, well, just re-drop it, then we'll do it. So we go do a video today. Those songs was all really like just from the heart. I was really angry at the time because I felt like I wasn't getting a fair shake. I can't get a job, I can't sell my weed. For whatever reason, an 18-year-old feels like that's not a fair shake. In a wheelchair, I was just letting it all kind of come out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm proud of that album because I think it's the one, I guess, I feel like I was able to capture, if nothing else, the most raw kind of like emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's to me, and it did. I'm very proud of the lyrics on there too. You know what I'm saying? I think on the next one, I'll start to be more reserved and be a little bit more thoughtful about my political stances or, the whole thing. But yeah. I like the first one because it was less thoughtful in that way, but very much more inclined towards, I would say, musical kind of emotion.
Yeah, it was pretty raw.
Yeah.
A lot of.
I didn't have a lot of inhibitions at that time as far as just anything,
And Young Sick produced a lot of the beats on there.
I want to say probably every single one except for the one that Derek did.
Yeah, I think Phantom might have did one.
Yeah, I think Phantom did one too.
But the rest are all Young Sick.
Yeah.
And he murdered that shit, man.
Yeah.
He can make beats.
Yeah, no, I agree. And a lot of people was kind of like, I felt like with Avis at that time, especially because he was kind of new, a lot of people was either hell yeah or hell no. And I couldn't understand the hell no part, especially when it's beats. Like, You know, a lot of people with his raps too, they'll say that. But I would, you know, not saying a lot of people would say hell no, but it would be, you were either or if you knew who he was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like hell yeah or hell no. But the people that was hell no with his raps, I don't know if how much of that was just kind of due to him being new and kind of being like a hater thing, or, you know, some kind of legitimate gripe. But I felt like I always would fuck with Avis first about beats. You know, Phil started coming around and doing some real good stuff too, but when they got together especially, yeah, it was magical. So yeah, you know, even when I was having access to Funk Beta and stuff, I still was not, I was still fucking with Avis, you know, off top, you feel me?
Cool. Right on, man.
Yeah.
So that was only on cassette tape, They Know I'm a Rider.
Right, that was,
only on
yeah,
cassette.
that was a budget thing.
Do you remember how many were pressed?
I want to say 300 or 500. It was less than 1,000.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I want to say 300 or 500.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got those pressed, it was in the Bay Area somewhere. But Ken basically put us in touch with it.
Okay.
Yeah, he was Ken was showing me how to do everything at first.
Cool.
You know? And yeah, like, I feel like that was probably, I guess, the biggest source of that kind of knowledge. Well, that and the classes I was doing too. I was taking like music business and stuff. So I knew stuff like to talk to, there's a music lawyer who was in town back then. I don't know if he still is, but he would be able to not just help us to provide insurance and stuff with our shows, but, you know, just basically put us up on a certain kind of game. Like, oh, how much you paying for flyers? Oh, you can get the flyers here or there, you know, for this what I know about paying for them. But initially, Kim pretty much gave me everything that I need to know as far as what I need to do to put something out.
Okay.
And that was on CD and tape, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
Which one?
Ken, he would show us how to put stuff out in a physical form. You know, because after a while, the music changed to where you didn't necessarily have a CD to drop an album. It was, you know, you might press some, but, you know, once it started to come to like your albums were basically released on YouTube or released on, you know, all digital kind of platforms, that was a kind of a new kind of jump off for me. And I can't say that I'll say that kind of contributed, I would say, to where we stopped at. It wasn't the reason, because I knew how to do it at the end of the day. But it was kind of one of those things where it was another thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like we probably should have been done well to start off that way, because the internet was out before that, but it just wasn't a lot of digital albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was only like maybe Napster, and you don't get paid for that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like having your own tape, man? Was that exciting? You got hanging boxes?
Yeah, when we got it at first, yeah, it was real cool. It was one of those things where up until that time I was still very kind of it's a weird kind of dichotomy between being mean and nervous at the same time, kind of around people, I guess.
Yeah.
Shy, but meanly shy. That's kind of weird, whatever that is. And to being comfortable speaking in public, speaking in front of other people, you know, like I was the type where if I talk to somebody, maybe even one-on-one, I might turn red and, you know,
Right.
you know, start tripping.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with him? You know, like, I don't know, some people say like Marshawn Lynch kind of got like a social anxiety disorder or something. Like, I feel like I had that tough. Yeah, and I think once I was able to have my music out and kind of, you know what I'm saying, how you gonna do a show then, bro? Like, you wanna do music or not? Like, okay, you know, kind of thing. But that kind of like really helped me. And it didn't just help me, I guess, from a sense of doing music, or even, I would say, even in my day-to-day relationships, it kind of just helped me overcome to feel a little bit more, to grow into that thing, which is saying I could do what I want instead of always feeling like I have to respond, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, to this day, I think, like I spoke in Puerto Rico, I spoke in Pittsburgh, mostly around academic stuff. But even just doing the academic stuff, if I didn't have that album out, that first album, and doing my music for whatever I did it for, or still, you know, that whole thing,
Yeah.
I wouldn't speak nearly as well as I do in public,
Good shit.
or even if at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I done ran for the city council over here before,
Yeah.
and I couldn't have done none of that without having
Being on the right.
That, yeah. For real.
That's what's up.
It's crazy. That's sad, but it's true.
Damn.
You know?
All right, so having your first hit, it kind of helped you kind of break out of your shell. And,
Yeah.
like,
Absolutely, yeah. Especially from a communication kind of standpoint, you know, especially. I think even to this day, like I'll be kind of shy sometimes. Like, I was in Ohio recently, and some dude walked up to me and said, "Hey man, don't you rap?" And I'm wondering like, how does fool know I'm rapping? I'm in Ohio. He's like, "I got your tape or my CD or somewhere. I got your music, something." I forget what he said exactly, but basically he had my music, some of my music. I was like, "That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's me," kind of a thing. And it was kind of like that kind of part, like to me, you know, feel good, obviously, but I guess what I'm trying to say is when I guess, you know, people put if I'm with my friend Bruce or somebody, you know, one of my friends that I like, just my friends or family even, and we go to promote music, I would feel like, I don't know, shy, like I'm trying to get over on somebody when they say, "Hey, buy this CD," or take this flyer. That's J-KILLA. Bam, bam. I'm like, you know, kind of a thing. And so I guess when those kind of things happen, like, you know, recently happened to me in Ohio, it made me feel better about that. So I don't feel as shy, like, in that way as far as promoting it. To me, promoting is almost like, I don't know, I sometimes feel like I'm trying to scam somebody, even though it's not necessarily the case at all. It just feel like, for whatever reason, it's always been something that I'll be kind of uncomfortable with. I'm like, if they want to buy my music, they gonna come get it. Yeah. Stop trying to force people to do something they don't want to do.
It's kind of, it feels cringy. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like,
exactly. And so for me, that's always kind of what I was trying to say. Kind of been, you know, still a thing. And so, you know, when people come up to you for whatever reason, it may, you know, because even if I didn't sell one single album, I think those kind of experiences are priceless in and of themselves, because it teach you a lot, not just about people, but how you stand or can't stand amongst them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so that to me have been very powerful as far as that go. You know,
For sure.
when you say how you feel about when you got the album, I guess that's from some of those feelings that developed from that.
That's what's up. Cool, man. So, how are most of them sold? Like, were they distributed out to record stores across the U.S., out the trunk mostly?
You know what? Most of the They Normal Riders album, the tapes,
Yeah.
we did this thing, right? Honestly, we would try to sell to people where we would go to like big, not just rap shows, but even like big R&B shows, or even like big old school shows. Like I remember we went to like a big Whispers concert in Concord or something, and we might sell 10, 20 there at a time, which don't sound like a lot, but it's cool. Get us gas money and, you know, basically put enough back in the pot to try to save up for the next album or whatever. Because by then I was starting to have my own studio equipment type thing put together. And so what really ended up really like making them mostly all go is we did this thing where I took like some boxes almost like that. I forget what they originally were for, but there were like some boxes kind of like that, and I cut them and I covered them with the flyer. And I would go to the liquor stores all around in the South, the closest, you know, from me and going out. And I asked them, "Can I put this on your counter?" And I'd give them a little invoice, kind of like little receipt kind of tag. I used to get an Office Max.
Yeah.
And I'd tell them, "Could you sell these for 10? We give you 5 or something, you know, some amount." And bam, and then we started noticing, whoa. And we just went around 3 stores and we sold more than we sold the whole time going to Concord. So it was mostly a lot like that. I put something on consignment at Tower back then, and I don't know if that was Tower out on Orton over there, but there's that record store over there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, was that Tower, you remember?
I know there was like,
I think it was a Tower.
back in the day.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah.
Okay.
But we would do consignment for them and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the consignment stores would do alright, but mostly we sold most of those by doing that little liquor store idea that I had.
Damn.
Yeah, and that went from us like sitting like, dang, we got $300 and we can't sell. It's been 3 months, we still got 150 what, you know, kind of thing, whatever it was. To now they gone. Okay, we gotta get some more. We want to order some more of these or do the next one. That time, so we do the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
that was the other thing too. You know, tapes. They were like, tapes. What the hell, bro?
Yeah.
We got CD players, man. What are you doing?
Right. It was towards the end of tapes.
Yeah, it was probably after the end. The tapes down there, a little bit. I mean, towards the end at least.
Yeah. Not too many tapes were pressed like after like 2000, 2001.
Right. So it was pressed up in '99, and so most people was like, dude, you got a CD of this? I'm like, we will soon. You know, kind of a thing, no?
Right.
But it's kind of whatever. But a lot of people still had tape decks in their car too, and they was happy to get a tape, like finally.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, my van today still has a tape.
All right, see,
so 2004, you know.
Right.
Okay, so after that album, man, were you featured on any compilations or were you featured on anybody's albums or anything from between then and until No One Left came out?
I know I recorded some features, and I can't remember for exactly who and what might have came out of them.
Okay.
But I do know I did the DPE album, which was Jonathan wrote Tim while he was still at UC Davis, and I'm fairly certain it's the same JR that did all the Carter shit for Lil Wayne. Yeah, Jonathan wrote Tim. But anyway, at the time he wasn't big at all, and he released a CD. It was called DPE Presents, something like that. And it had Sugar T on there, and it had, I want to say, like Lynch and Bo. Just basically kind of the main names from around that time.
Okay.
I don't remember before it was on it, but anyway, I did a song on there, a song or two. I think it was one or two songs on there. It was Dirty Mackin' and something else, but I did it with Lick. That was way back, but Lick didn't go by Lick back then. He went by Liquor Sick. That's what his name appears on that compilation as. And yeah, so that was kind of.
Compilation again?
It's called it's DPE. That's all I just remember. Say DPE, Digital Platinum Entertainment.
Okay.
And it might have said Presents or something, but I think if you Google it on DPE compilation or something like that, it should pop up. It had like a blue cover.
I hit the way, motherfucker, straight mother on me. My folks say 450, give me a QP and green. In Nevada County, homie, where the buds is plush. Right up in the hilly woods where they grow the stuff. I'm a straight gang splitter, nigga, you think that I ain't? Rolling through dirt roads with naked hoes on candy paint. I do things my way, I'm young J-K. double L fucking A. Breaking on pounds down in the sacks. Motherfucker, I'm the dirty Mac. Fuck you niggas with no strap. In the game, the funnel scraps. I'm chucking from you losers, cause I do my dirt with my pistol killing niggas and 2 big pits. Straight making round trips in your hood, city, county, and state.
Okay.
But basically it was Jonathan Rotam's compilation that he was putting out to showcase his beats. And so he did all the beats for the whole thing.
Okay.
He also did like Pay Bitch, I want to say. He did the beat for that.
Okay.
And one more song I got. So yeah, so long story short, he that was the kind of, to me, the biggest compilation. I submitted stuff for Who Put Sack on the Map. Talon didn't release my submission, even though I thought it should have been on there. And
damn, she didn't put it on there?
I was on a lot of compilations for a minute, not a super lot, but like I would see my name on compilations and don't remember having done it or submitted nothing to it, but I don't know, you know, where I didn't even listen to all of it. But just from that era, I'm sure it's at least about 4 or 5 compilations that probably you could find me on. I did the one with Emo for Lynch, or maybe that was on a video. It was Now Eat or something like that, or While You Wait, maybe. While You Wait, yeah. Yeah, I think I think he has a soundtrack to that I'm on.
Camera something before we get up out of here.
I'ma tell you, you know, Crooked Face coming representing. We got love from Sick May, we got love from my man King James, and you know, from the Keep It Official all the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember everything, but yeah, I did some features. I did some features for Lynch. I don't know if he dropped any of the ones I gave him. Yeah, a few things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the artist I'll probably Lynch probably been the artist I was most happy as far as having a name to have worked with.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I almost did a song with Rapper Forte one time. He was my baby mama cousin. So I guess he my kid's cousin, something like that. Anyway, there was a time I think I was in touch with him about we was gonna do something. We never actually got together.
Okay.
I don't know. There was a lot happening back then, fast.
Yeah. All right.
The Something Terrible, that was another group I guess we could argue say was one of the bigger names back then that I did features and albums with songs with. Worked real closely with Something Terrible. Actually, that was right before Mac Dre died. Which Mac Dre died kind of was one of those things that was put a sour taste in my mouth about the music shit at that time.
Yeah.
You know, Mac Dre had gave the dude at the gas station by my house his number to give to me. Literally about a month or two before he got killed. So I was looking forward to reaching out with him. I knew we was gonna be in touch anyway, eventually, because I was working close with Something Terrible, and I was excited about that. I remember it now, and then you know that whole thing happened. I was like, kind of sucked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to say he like lived out here around that time too, right?
Yeah, he did.
2004.
Yeah, he had a spot out
Or
here.
something.
But he was always moving though. He'd be in the Bay one day, and
Kansas City.
yeah, in LA and everywhere else in between. But you know, I was really admire his hustle and his willingness. Like he was, I mean, even aside from whatever experience I might have had with him, he was always working with artists. Look, you know, like he didn't. A lot of artists at that time, especially like the Bows and the Lynches of the world, much love because I consider them both, you know, a fam in a music sense anyway. But they would be kind of big-headed to say the least, you know, like they not out there. They waiting, you know. Kind of like, you know, kiss the ring, and rightfully so, because that's where the ring stood, I guess. But Dre wasn't like that. He was constantly politicking in the streets, messing with anybody and everybody.